I'm ready to go. I am packed for a 49-degree evening in Ocala National Forest at Juniper Springs Campground. But first I had to go to work. Dealt with the traffic, pulled into the parking lot, and before I knew it, work was over and I was heading out of the parking lot, getting my belt buckle on and knowing that in about 90 minutes I would be in the park, in the preserve, and it was going to be beautiful. I did try to get into the visitor center, but unfortunately due to COVID, not only was it closed, it looked like it had been completely abandoned. Any bears recently?
No, they're hunting right now for deer.
So everything's a little skittish.
Yeah, there's a lot of hunting around. So.
Yearling Trail's probably okay to hike though?
I think so.
.64. And we are here. Great campground. Ocala National Forest. And it's quite natural. There's great landscape here. A lot of it, I'm sure, has been logged over the years, but great campsites. I'm in Fern Loop right now. Set up my fire, had a little dinner, salad, less work, and it's better for you. Got my trail cam set up right on top of the bear box. Maybe we'll get something at night while I'm sleeping. Got to get the van ready for sleep, and in the morning I'm going to get up fairly early and try and get to Yearling Trail. I'm going to have some boiled peanuts and let the sun go down. Maybe one or two more 7-ounce Coronas. What? I just woke up. Give me a minute. Nice early morning start. We are going to head to Yearling Trail. Yearling Trail is a great trail. It's, I think from what I recall, it's about 6 miles in and out. A lot of wildlife. I don't know if we'll see anything today, but just a great location. How about that? My own personal gate. Just hit some fog, which kind of sucks. Didn't expect that. It's a little colder than I expected. It's 45 degrees, and generally speaking, very, very comfortable. The stay last night in the campground was fantastic. I'm at Yearling Trail now. It's right before sunrise. Sunrise is like 7:20, it's 7:18. The lighting should be a lot better. I'm switching my lenses largely because I want to ease the load on my foot since it's broken. I also have diabetes and need to get exercise, and so there's always this struggle between exercise and letting my foot rest or my bad knees rest. I guess I err on the side of diabetes because at least you can replace joints these days. You can't replace me. If I succumb to blindness or die or something, you know, minor like that, then you wouldn't get stupid videos from an old guy. All right, lens is attached. There's a lot of scrub jays here in the forest, and I really like scrub jays. You never know what they're going to do. I also carry bear spray, largely because there are bears here. I've never had a problem with them. Yes, I'm taking a carrot and an apple. Small little parking area and kiosk, which gives you the entire history of Yearling Trail and the area. Yearling Trail hooks up to the Florida Trail at the outward end. There's another kiosk. A lot of differences between this trail and the Fakahatchee. Number one, there's very little water here. There are some lakes and some ponds around. The trail is very tight. Part of it most likely was an old shell road that went to some of the historical parts of this area. There, in fact, is an old cemetery here. The trail is kind of tight. If you're doing this during the summer, or any time, I guess, these days, you want to be careful, largely because there are a lot of ticks. And I know somebody who has Lyme disease because of the ticks here. For those of you that have seen my videos, you know that I love seeing animal prints. That's a raccoon. All right, I'm hearing scrub jays. Maybe I'll get a few on video. Really neat birds. He's as curious about me as I am about him. He's just warming up in the sun. There's probably half a dozen scrub jays right in this vicinity. He's just not worried about me at all. Scrub jays are just wonderful birds. It's a shame they're threatened the way they are in the state of Florida. And they're everywhere in here. There's another one just flew in behind them. Yeah. They're everywhere. Give you an idea how many scrub jays there are. I mean, there's 3, 4. They're in front of me. There's a towhee in front of me too now, which is kind of neat. He's not really in the sun, but you can see the movement around. It's I'm counting maybe a dozen or so. So we're leaving the scrub habitat and entering into what I would describe as an upland pine habitat. Sand pine, longleaf pine. A lot of turkey and other things in here. I can still hear the scrub jays, but this isn't really one of their habitats. Although they fly through here, I'm sure, moving in and out of their own habitats. Boy, the scrub jays are active. I just heard a woodpecker. Oh, there he is. Looks like maybe a red-bellied. I'm not entirely sure. Oh, there he is. He's still in the tree. I'm guessing red-bellied. Yeah, red-bellied. I'm not going so fast. Partly because of my foot, but I don't want to come up on anything too fast in case it is a bear with cubs. Couldn't be any more beautiful. It's in the 40s. I mean, if you're looking for a good hike, this is the way to do it. I tend to be pretty quiet on the trails. If it's a very active bear community, especially grizzlies, I might be a little more obvious that I'm here. But the more quiet you are, and if you get up early, you're bound to see things more often. There's some oak in here, rather large oak. Thousands of years ago, this was all a beachhead, and some of the landscape is very reminiscent of a beach that you'd find today in Florida. I'm also having to watch for snakes, although with the temperature, they're not going to be so active until they warm up. Same idea for all reptiles. Alligators, which you saw in the Fakahatchee, are always docile, I find. Along the trail, there's places that I'm aware of that have certain types of wildlife, and it's nice to see that they're still there after a few months of me not being here. Should be a gopher tortoise in this burrow right here. Let's take a look. Yeah, it's still active. And I'm not going to disturb the tortoise, but it's a big tortoise. It's probably a foot wide, the mouth of the burrow. Obviously it's cold, so he or she will come out on the mound and warm up. Of course, you do wonder with all the footprints on the mound if somebody's disturbed her or him. Every once in a while I like to just stop and take a look at the landscape and see if I can see anything from the trail. Post number 8, there's a sinkhole that way where a lot of the old pioneers got their water, and there's a cemetery to the left. This is the sinkhole I was talking about. It's deep. It's really, really deep, and they've kind of added these tiers so you don't, I guess, slip into it. I'm sure people slip into it, but it's a pretty deep sinkhole. It's got water in the bottom. If it doesn't and it's dry, then I'm sure it's easy to dig for, which is what I'm sure they did. Let's head to the cemetery now. It's not too far off the main trail that I came in on. There's a little latch, I guess, to make it more of a pronounced entry. It's probably at least a dozen markers of folks who've passed on. Some of these deaths are really tragic. Some incredible accidents that took children's lives. I mean, it had to be pretty risky out here. Far more risky than taking a hike to visit their cemetery. Some Civil War veterans died early 1900s, accidental death. Clothes caught fire while playing around fire. Wow. It's a lesson to you kids. Don't play around fire. And I've moved on beyond the cemetery. And I'm heading towards the Florida Trail, and I'll turn around and walk back. Some moss growing on the ground, from what I understand. The deer will nibble on that during times of drought. It occurs in these little patches. Pretty neat stuff. That's where it is in relation to the rest of the forest. This is the part of the trail that usually is the tightest. It has the most hurdles to get over. It looks like somebody tried to cut that and failed. If you're gonna try this trail, just keep in mind that the sand is very, very soft. This is where water was collected and used by the pioneers. And some of those people in the graveyard actually most likely used this. You can see some cement remaining around the edge. This thing probably is no deeper than 3 feet, 4 feet. Again, they've put a fence around it for protection. So I'm going to head back out to the Florida Trail and turn around. A lot of oak trees in here. Now, if there were a panther or something like that, They travel through corridors in the state of Florida. Most of the panthers are down in the Fakahatchee, the southwest area of Florida. But occasionally males, being young males, will take some risk. I'm looking at the Florida Trail. You can see that orange hash mark on the tree. That's what that signifies. I'm just kind of curious. I'm going to walk above this ridge on the Florida Trail real quick. Thought I was hearing some things back in the forest. Probably a squirrel. Heck, it could be a bird. Wonderful trail. And it's pretty heavily used. It's not the Appalachian Trail. Nothing. Take a look all the way down there if you want to see oddities. So we're in the area that has a canopy, and there's a prickly pear cactus. It's a cactus that grows in Florida and actually throughout a lot of the United States. It's got a delicious fruit, but obviously it's actually pretty old. It's not very tall, maybe 2 feet from the top of it to the ground. But it's growing in an area that has a pretty good canopy. So my guess is, and just by the looks of these trees, they're fairly new, they're young. My guess is that there was no canopy here when that started growing. This was probably an open dune. Winter is, there's a lot of hunting that goes on throughout the state. I think perhaps that's one thing that is limiting the amount of wildlife today. Turkey, deer, those are always big objects of affection for hunters. Could be why there's few today. Normally I see deer or turkey, but hopefully the scrub jays made up for it for you guys watching. These hikes are like going fishing and not catching anything, because they are just beautiful and wonderful on their own without seeing any wildlife. You think that I'm not going to say anything? I mean, clearly I was looking for the cheesy walk past the camera, but I'm the only one out here. It is pretty cheesy. I'm going to do it at some point, but not today. Well, the sun's just starting to come out, and it's a good time to get back to the vehicle. Not a lot of tracks today. I haven't seen any bear, but here's a hog print. See the two in the back and the two in the front, and it's probably a big hog. I don't know, but it's one of the things they hunt out here, which is fine in terms of invasive species that wreak havoc in a park like this. Interesting thing, in the Fakahatchee Swamp, my last video, I learned that hogs are no longer a problem in the Fakahatchee, largely because the Florida panthers have eaten all the babies. Basically, they grab a piglet and they scramble up a tree, and there's absolutely nothing mama hog can do at that point. And so I guess they've taken so many piglets that it's put a serious dent in the huge problem that those non-native hogs create. What's up, Doc? That's how you call warblers in. They all just flew in big time. They're curious as to what's going on. That sound is what a bird would make that's struggling. So if you're into identifying birds, that's how you bring them in. Well, I did see a deer, but unfortunately didn't have time to turn on the camera. And I am seeing some prints here other than raccoon that are either coyote or dog. Seeing some deer prints. Saw some turkey prints. Well, that's it from the Yearling Trail. If you like what you saw, please like and subscribe if you get a chance. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time on some different type of trail. Not sure what that's going to be. Good news is, the van is in the sun. My solar panels are charging, and I can get going home.